Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on April the 13th, I asked the Prime Minister why he has not yet appointed a Minister for Seniors. And this is a very important question. As you know, 1 in 6 Canadians is a senior. There are already more seniors in Canada than youth. In 13 short years, 1 in 4 Canadians will be a senior. It's extremely important that our country is prepared for this critical change in Canada. We need the federal government to make this one of their highest priorities. We need the Prime Minister to appoint a Minister for Seniors, and we need a national seniors strategy. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, we have a federal government now that is playing politics with seniors. The Prime Minister has appointed a Minister for Youth himself, a Minister for Families, Children and Social Development, but not a Minister for Seniors. In the last Parliament, there was a Minister for Seniors, but this government thinks that some Canadians are more important than others, more important than youth, families and children. They're more important than seniors. Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Families admitted at committee that the Liberals will not appoint a Minister for Seniors because they believe ministers for groups of people are only good for photo ops. Why does the minister think that seniors are only good for photo ops? Why does the minister think that youth and the Minister for Families are only good for photo ops? Mr. Speaker, Canadian seniors built this great country, and they continue to have a very positive impact on our country. They make important contributions to families, to the workplace, and to communities. As official opposition critic for seniors, I've met with many seniors across Canada. They're very concerned with the approach that the government is taking. Time and time again, I'm told that the Prime Minister should appoint a Minister for Seniors, just like the previous government did. They also asked for the government to create a national strategy for seniors. I recently attended a roundtable for seniors in my riding of Langley-Aldergrove, and they requested 2 things: a national senior strategy and a Minister for Seniors. An organization called 411 Seniors Centre Society wrote to the Prime Minister recently highlighting the many unique needs of seniors and how concerned they are that there is no Minister for Seniors. They wrote, quote, "We discovered that 6 ministers have mandates to address specific issues related to seniors. A further 7 ministers will be dealing with matters which, while not addressing seniors specifically, will have implications for us. We are concerned that these arrangements carry the potential for fragmentation and even contradiction. Instead, we ask that you act to ensure a focused, coordinated, and comprehensive approach to policy and programs addressing seniors. Our preference would be that you appoint a minister responsible for seniors to coordinate and monitor progress." End quote. Mr. Speaker, Canadian seniors are very concerned with the government's broken promises. But it's never too late to do the right thing. I encourage the government to keep the promises that they made, respect all Canadians equally, work constructively with all members of this Parliament. I ask the government to appoint a Minister for Seniors and to work with us on a national seniors strategy. Thank you.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Families, Children and Social Development.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I want to thank the honourable member for the opportunity to reiterate this government's commitment to seniors and to highlight once again the concrete measures in our first budget to support Canadians who have earned the right to a secure and dignified retirement, our seniors. We on this side of the House value the contribution that older Canadians have made and continue to make to our communities, our workplaces, and our families. We are taking concrete steps to support this important component of Canadian families and Canadian society. One of the first measures that this government initiated when it came to office was to cancel the previous government's plan to raise the age of eligibility for old age security benefits from 65 to 67. Without these benefits, Mr. Speaker, seniors aged 65 and 66 would have faced a much higher risk of living in poverty, and that is not acceptable, Mr. Speaker. The 20% of people aged 65 and 66 with the lowest income would have lost 35% of their income with that measure, while the 20% with the higher income would only have lost 5%. Not fair, Mr. Speaker. In addition, the previous government had not been able to produce proof showing that their irresponsible move was based on sound economic research. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Families, Children and Social Development researched this very issue as a leading university professor of economics and demonstrated that the current system was viable. He also stated in this House that his findings contributed to his decision to seek public office prior to the last election. And as a consequence, Mr. Speaker, I am very proud to serve with this minister in this House. Under the previous government's plan, the most vulnerable Canadian seniors would have lost approximately $13,000 per year and would have plunged 100,000 seniors into poverty. As a percentage of Canada's GDP, the estimated cost of restoring the age of eligibility to 65 represents an increase of less than a third of a percentage point in old age security expenditure in 2029. Next, this government is increasing the guaranteed income supplement top-up benefit by $947 annually, Mr. Speaker, for the most vulnerable single seniors, many of whom are women. This action represents a 10% increase to the total maximum guaranteed income supplement benefits available to the lowest income single seniors. It will improve, Mr. Speaker, the financial security of about 900,000 single seniors across Canada and help to lift thousands of seniors out of poverty. We are also moving ahead with concrete actions to ensure that couples living apart for reasons beyond their control, such as in a long-term care facility, will receive higher benefits based on their individual incomes. Mr. Speaker, most of the measures that I have just enumerated are contained in Bill C-15, the Budget Implementation Act. I would encourage members from across the way to join with this government and support this important piece of legislation for seniors, for the middle class, for children, and for all Canadians. Mr. Speaker, it's not about a title. It's about the substance of the actions that are being taken and the real difference these actions will make in the lives of older Canadians now and in the future. Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Families, Children and Social Development, the Minister responsible for seniors issues, I am proud to say that we are delivering on the promises we made to Canada's seniors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Langley-Aldergrove.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the comments of my colleague across the way. I'm going to put down my prepared text, and I'm going to ask him to do the same thing. The question is very simple. It's what Canadians want is a minister for seniors and a national seniors strategy. That's what they're asking for across this country. And unfortunately, the member did not address that at all. So I've put down my prepared text. I'm going to ask him to speak from the heart and honestly tell this House why the government is refusing to appoint a minister for seniors. Mr. Speaker, the question, I'll repeat it, why is the government opposing appointing a minister for seniors? That's what the Canadians, seniors, want answered. They don't want him to talk about other things. Why are they not appointing a minister for seniors?
Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, I'll just repeat again to the honourable member, and I appreciate his commitment to seniors, that the word seniors may not appear in the title of a particular cabinet minister, but I can assure you the needs of Canadian seniors are important for our government. This debate is not about a title, Mr. Speaker. It's about the actions that are being taken to recognize those Canadians who, after a lifetime of hard work, I agree with the minister, have earned a secure and dignified retirement. This is why the government is taking concrete steps to improve income security for low-income seniors. We are investing in the well-being of older Canadians, Mr. Speaker. And for this reason, Mr. Speaker, I would invite the honourable member to lay down his partisanship. I would invite him to unanimously support the Budget Implementation Act so that we as parliamentarians send a clear message on the value we place on the contribution of seniors to Canada. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.